Welcome to PlayerDriven. Greg here. So we're trying something new this week. This week, while we're at Pocket Gamers London, you should check out what's going on at playerdriven.io. Or if you're not following us on the social channels, we're learning about what's going on in live ops, AI in gaming, transmedia, so much great stuff. But what we're going to do this week is we're going to actually play for you what we talked about on Player Driven Live this week, which is what we run on Thursdays. This is a conversation between Colin, Nisa, and I. We're breaking down what's going on in the gaming industry while it's happening, and it's really cool stuff. It's live 1 p.m. on Easterns, typically every Thursday. The time might fluctuate, but you can find it on YouTube or LinkedIn. We mess with the channels if you want to listen to that. We're also planning an event for Dice, and I'm really excited about that. I've never planned an event before, but we're doing it. We got people already signed up to go. If you're in the Vegas area, early February, let us know. We'd love to meet up what's going on. And we are in London this week. If you're at Pocket Gamers, holler at us. We want to see you. We want to see what's going on. If you haven't followed Player Driven recently, check out playerdriven.io. Make sure you like our content, subscribe, and let us know what are you wanting to hear about from these experiences. I'm not going to keep dragging this on, so we're going to jump into this conversation. We're starting a little late. At this point, Colin's breaking down Bobby Kotick, who was the old CEO of Activision, who owned Call of Duty. Call of Duty took a big hit this year, and Bobby Kotick just came out and said some stuff about it. And Colin's just going to kind of jump in here and start talking about that situation. You have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
So he must be speaking from some point of knowledge. He must know something, but I don't think he's far off in terms of his estimations that Call of Duty this year was so much lower than last year's Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which we talked about in a previous live session. But if Call of Duty Black Ops 6 reportedly per Bloomberg lost $300 million for Microsoft, and it was in terms of an attention share, a massive game, if not the biggest game, one of the biggest games of 2024, then how on earth does a game do 60% or let's say 40 to 60% worse than the previous installment and make a profit? If they lost $300 million, how much did they lose this year? That's a real question that I now have, and you'll never get a clear answer. But this is the kind of the opposite of a positive flywheel. To me, this is the beginning of a negative flywheel because whether true or not, I saw that Microsoft came out after we talked last week, and maybe we brought this up, but they're refuting the kind of quote unquote rumors of layoffs coming to the gaming department again. But you can't have a game underperform that big and have it lose money, presumably losing more money than the previous installment, and not have the flywheel go, well, we got to cut more people to save on costs. And now you're in a tailspin as opposed to a positive flywheel, right? You're in a tailspin where one thing will lead to another thing, lead to another thing. And I hope it doesn't end up like that way. I don't want that to end up that way, but numbers are numbers, and you're like, oh gosh, this is bad. And you know unfortunate that it had to come out in weird court proceedings about the Call of Duty numbers. But again, and almost weird that he's taking it as a haha, I tricked Microsoft into buying an asset. Mike, the only reason the asset was cheap, dude, is because you did what you did, or at least you covered up what you did cover up. So they bought it because it was on discount. That's why you sold. They bought it because it was on discount. But you know I digress. I won't touch that. The oddest thing coming out of that, though, and it's just comical, is just his conspiracy theory about the Swedes and Embracer Group. I'm like, shots fired. Does Embracer Group need to take more arrows? Oh my gosh. He's like, the conspiracy to try to force me to sell. They were, blah, blah, blah. Man, I just see Charlie Day with yarn with him now. And the Swedes are over here, and he's got a big string go down. I'm sure Bark is part of it too. He's like, it's all just part of the same conspiracy to take me out. So. Yeah.
I'm trying to just read some of
As
the.
he as he buys a yacht and he was off the coast of the Malfi Coast or whatever, or the Maldives, and an insanely large yacht, kind of racing Bezos and his all that. So complain on
Speaking
your pile of infinite money.
speaking of Bezos, did you hear his statement?
Oh my gosh, what did he say?
He People were upset about this, which is surprising, but he is a believer that no one will own PCs soon. We'll all own devices that can connect to the cloud that runs our PCs, and people got upset by that. I didn't go deep into those details, and I actually don't necessarily think he's wrong. I think there still will be people that own PCs, but I mean, we've had VMware and other virtual desktops for decades, so I don't
Yeah,
think it's far off. But
what's new there? I
people's
mean,
feelings.
yeah, people's feelings. let's just break down what do you need a PC for, right? Like, are you running the web on your local browser? No, that's all run to the cloud. So everything you do on the internet, everyone that's listening to this, is run through the cloud, right? Today. That's just how that is the birth of AWS, basically, is the internet. The internet lives in the cloud. The cloud is access to a browser. The browser is the only thing locally running. And but you're not actually running the websites on your browser or your machine, right? So that's like one. And so you go, what else is cloud based? Well, most enterprise software people use for work are running in the cloud, right? So Microsoft Word and et cetera, et cetera. There's a small localized version, but the majority of which is now running to the cloud. So that's like too. A lot of my files exist in the cloud too. Personally, like whether you're enterprise to a company you work for, you run things to the cloud, your files, et cetera, like an internet of sorts that's cloud based, or you're running your personal files in the cloud. A lot is cloud based too. So I don't think it's far off. I mean, I think what he's saying, like, so then why do people own big machines? That's probably what got the kerfuffle for Bezos. It's like, well, gamers love boxes with LEDs and high GPUs. And like, that's the thing. I think he's like, we're so far away from that being not having to be the case. And that goes back to what's the biggest hang up on cloud gaming? It's multiplayer games and latency. And I would love your thoughts on this, Greg, because I feel you're closer to this like infrastructure stuff. But to me, it's like, yeah, you'd have to build so many servers that are so close to everybody who wants a game, so they can, and you have to have the games be so big where they can locally match make. Like the problem is basically the speed of light. That's the problem. Light can only move so much so fast, and so in a single player game that doesn't matter, because if you see like a hairpin latency on you selecting a menu item in your JRPG, like you'll never notice nor will you care. But if you're playing competitively in CS:GO or Call of Duty or whatever, and you are off by a second versus the other person, then they're going to just win every match, and that's not fun for you to play multiplayer games. That's what it boils down to. Multiplayer games, by just the technology kind of confines that it finds itself in, is always going to need to be like run locally until we have so many data centers and so many people gaming that you can locally match make to people in the same geographic region with the same data center running the game. Like, then it becomes less of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, technology is hurdles we're going to always solve and move forward from. I think, the loudest voices on the internet is like 5% of the audience, right? So you hear people complaining about, oh, we want PCs, but those are probably gamers that game hardcore on your PC. I'm willing to bet 90% of people don't even know what that means or how that works, right? So they don't care what device they're using to access the web as long as they have something to access the web. I think latency will eventually be solved, right? You'll have your esports gamers where, yeah, they're going to have a beefy machine because this is what they do for a living. Then you're going to have the me's that, like, I'll play Battlefield and I suck at it. So it was a little bit of latency that I noticed or don't notice going to make the world a difference. Maybe, but I think that will get better over time. I think, we're at I don't want to say it's the dawn of the technology because it's been here for a few years, but I mean, technology moves quick. I mean, if you look at it, I think it was like 50 years ago is when we first got to the moon, or maybe 70 years ago now, right? Like, and now look at what we're doing. Like, things just speed up over time. So if there's a hurdle in the way, I don't doubt that people are smart enough than us out there to go solve that.
No, I mean, I totally agree with that. It's not a matter of if it'll happen. Of course it will. Like, I champion on our continual conversations I love having that I hate the box in my living room. If I don't want a box to just an appliance to play games. I would rather have no appliance and use my shelf space for something else. So that would be the ideal world. So I'm all about anti-appliance, but I just think technologically speaking, we are on our way to that world, but we are also far away from that world, if that makes sense. Like, we're not close to it, but we're closer to it than, what's the Bill Gates saying where, people want the future to happen now, like 10 years will happen in like a year, and then we'll go 10 years without any major shift, like, or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm like shooting at the hip on this, but he has like a really interesting quote that's basically like technological innovation, our expectations are immediate, and then but it happens over a long period of time, but then it'll happen really fast. Like, you'll see innovation just happen like boom, right? And something like that, I think it would be the destiny of this type of thing. So I mean, and to be fairness, Valve is hoping that's not true because they want you to buy $1,000 machine and to put in your living room to play PC games. So
It's the streaming future. That's gonna be. Is it gonna cost $1,000? They didn't announce the price yet, right? It's just a
No,
speculation.
that's just a rumor that, given the price of memory and GPUs, that there's no way they cannot charge like $1,000 for this machine. And at what point, or what are you buying? Well, I mean, like, the internet piece. Come on, like, if you're assuming that the machine is going to rise in memory and GPU cost, because it will, right, as everything else will. So will your gaming PC. Like, those things don't stay flat. Like your Acer, your Asus, your Alienware, whatever piece of gaming pre-built hardware you're running, or if you're just going and buying your GPUs on the market, like, whoa, and you're doing a pre-build, like, those things don't go down; they'll go up too, right? So yeah, like, consoles are not living in a vacuum where they go up and everything else remains flat. Everything goes up, right?
That's how it works.
Ugh, reminds me of the crypto farmer era. We're just going into a worse version of it.
All 5 years ago of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was 5 years of crypto farming, or 5 years ago. That kind of popped, and then we're just back at a more escalated version. And you actually read interesting thing about the crypto farmers. They actually, like, everyone like rails and like, oh, what a funny business you were in, and what a failure. Now they're making so much money on selling those GPUs and those, like, direct lines into kilowatts into the AI companies, that they're actually more valuable now as just by having done the work in the crypto era, and they crashed. But if they stayed around, they're making hand over fist money in the AI era. So hats off to those crypto farmers.
You know, I'm
They
going
got the last laugh.
I'm going to Pocket Gamers this next week. So if you're in London, let me know anyone. We'd love to meet up and videotape what you're doing, what you're building, just meeting you, saying hi. But the first Gamers I went to was in Seattle a few years ago, and it was all Web3 and it was all crypto based. And I remember walking in like, this is the weirdest thing ever. Like everyone's talking about the NFTs you can get and all this stuff, and just like, I'm not going to use the word cringy by any means, but like they were putting so much uh, everything into it. They're like, this is the future. This is what it's going to be. And I'm just like, how? Like, it's not quick enough. It's not, I don't know. I don't know. Technology's nuts.
Yeah, I'm I'm famously a I just don't, I, when people describe the value of crypto, and, like, let's just say, like, unpack it, like ownership, like digital asset ownership to the person instead of the kind of the whatever, right? Like, makes sense on its face, but just no one's explained to me how you build these ecosystems without them turning into a Ponzi scheme almost immediately. Like, there's like nothing I have seen to date has not ultimately turned into a Ponzi scheme. And whether intentional or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just what happens. And the Ponzi ends up crashing, and just people are speculative chasing a thing. So I don't know. It's a bit of a gold rush mentality. And I think, speaking of gold rush, I want to use this as a pivot. I I last week railed on Lego for making awful play sets, and now I'm here to eat crow. I'm not really. I knew this was happening. So, Lego launched their adult line for the Pokemon sets ahead of Pokemon Day. These were announced over a year ago, the idea of it, and then, if you're in the Lego community, you knew what the sets were going to be, basically based on all the leaks and stuff. So nothing came out as a surprise. You had Eevee, you have Pikachu, which is shockingly the ugliest one, in my opinion, and then you have the original, like, starter 3-pack from the Kanto kind of OG Pokemon games in their full kind of evolutionary form. Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, all kind of on a giant, like, kind of trophy, as it were. I don't know what else to call it. It's just like just a awesome, creative, just amazing looking, like, item to put on a shelf, which I will clearly do in my office. So I of course bought the dang thing, and I was like, yeah, and the Kanto badges were the sell through, like, oh, gift with purchase, boom. And speaking about speculators, like, I know they're back. They kind of found more in stock for the pre-orders, but that set sold out in 24 hours. Gone, right? And the Kanto badges are going for $200, $300 on eBay now. Like basically the kind of hybrid mashup of, I think, it's like three things happening. You have the Lego community, which Pokemon has been in buildable brick format before. They're part of Mega Bloks, owned by Mattel. Sorry, Mattel, but they're awful. I'm a Lego person. I hate those sets. I hate the design of the bricks. I don't like how they feel. I don't like the design. So, call me a snob, whatever, but no, no go. So I see these things in Target all the time. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but pass it by Lego, right? It's kind of what I do, right? So They you have the Lego kind of community behind Pokemon. Oh, who always wanted Pokemon sets. So it's like one. And then you have the Pokemon community who's addicted to collecting, right? So like I think there's like a collector's mentality when it comes to Pokemon. Everything they do boils down to collect, gotta catch them all. Like whether it be in the game, whether it be the cards, whether it be the Pokemon Go and you're chasing your AR Pokemon, your shiny Pokemon, like everything kind of distills down to collecting. So you have a hardcore collector mentality with Pokemon, right? On the other side. And the Lego, and I think you have this like adult, like we're celebrating 30 years of Pokemon, which means at minimum, those who grew up with Pokemon are 30 years old, if not older. So we are middle-aged dudes. The commercial really just nailed it. Like got a bunch of middle-aged dudes, like myself, living their benign lives. I'm gonna say my life's not benign, but like living the benign lives. I think it was an accountant in the ad, and he sees the ad and he gets his friends back together to go catch them all, and they're all just like totally dressed up as kids again. And it's a great ad. One, trolling the Lego fan community, which is basically what you're doing with the 18 plus line. They kind of knew what they're doing. And two, it's like not wrong. It's like, oh yeah, it's this nostalgia fest. So I kind of mean it's like someone made a comment that really stuck with me, and I'll let you jump in, Greg. It was like we're entering this era where maybe game companies like you all almost have two kind of worlds. You have younger audiences that are more discerning in how they spend their disposable income, and then you have this whale audience, the whales of gaming and the whales of just everything right now are these millennials, maybe younger Gen Xers entering their prime earning years with a bunch of disposable cash that instead is buying, going to football games because I mean I'm one. I'd rather watch a football game on TV. Going to a stadium is like it's fine, but like football is way better on TV. Full stop. So I'm not buying season tickets to an NFL game, but I clearly spend my discretionary income on other things. So it's not like that money doesn't leave; it just goes to other things. And it's in this like race of living your childhood and not letting go. I don't know if that's maybe the cynical way to put it, but or it's just like I like what I like and I age up with it and now I have all the money. They're tailor making experiences and or for things for me to buy that I'm going to Jeep on. So see the Lego adult line, which they keep adding more and more sets every year, and see the Pokemon $650 set selling out in 24 hours is crazy. That shouldn't have sold out. Like that's an expensive piece of hardware. So a bunch of adults just ran and bought their starter Pokemon from their youth. And off to the races we go, living in this adult deep pocketed money while the younger generation is playing these free to play experiences or cheaper games because they don't have the discretionary income. So maybe I don't know. And this is an early take. Maybe the gaming industry kind of goes, "Oh, we'll make more premium games for that adult audience, that nostalgia, like see Tomb Raider, see Bond. We're going to chase with higher fidelity and a more premium price point that audience, and then the other side they'll just continue making free to play or like cheaper games that will reach a younger audience." Thoughts? It's a lot. Threw a lot at you.
I
Yeah.
will. I will take a little bit of credit. I think it was last week I told you I was saying boomer. That I was reading that boomers are the next big investment in gaming because they have free time, they got money. But to your point, older millennials too. We fall into that category as well, right? It's I watch
I the
people.
boomer comment. My mom plays Words with Friends. My mom's a boomer, and they're not going to all of a sudden find affinity for Pokemon. That's just not happening, right? I think but I do think, and I used to tell this story at Twitch, like gamers will age up with gaming, and they will not let go of gaming, and you
Mhm.
just it's proved to be true and true and true. Like there's a younger Gen X. I don't want to forget them. I keep saying that, and the elder and millennial generation that is now just aging up into their prime years, and for the Xers are kind of going into their early senior years, they're just not going to let go of gaming, right? Whether it be my brother who's older than me playing Madden, he's an Xer, playing Madden, he'll play Madden forever, right? Like he will not let go of Madden, or me and my own fandoms. Like we're the whales. We are the boomers, right? We will be the boomers, and we are the ones that are holding gaming and kind of moving up in the age bracket. And by proxy, the gaming is moving up the economic ladder with us, right? Because we're not letting go.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that Pokemon ad or Lego ad, right, was just like, yeah, like they know their audience, right? And it was just fascinating because I something I really like to talk about on all my podcast stuff is like, who's your audience? Who's your audience, right? And you think Pokemon, everyone's mind's gonna go like, oh, it's a kids game. Like, no, you're wrong, right? And yep, kids love it, but there's money there because there's a lot of older kids, I like to say
Yeah,
older kids, like that play this stuff, right? Like, and they nailed it. To your point about the games or the gaming, I mean, I think they've already noticed that, right? To your point, they're bringing back Tomb Raider. You mentioned it last week that the 2000s is coming back, right? They kind of know how we scratch our itches, right? And
that That
it's
makes me a
exciting.
bull on Master Chief game coming PlayStation. Eyes on that because if they're gonna have what's Xbox's mascot that's nostalgia bait that could do really well, it's a Halo, right? But like when my question to gaming, and this is kind of where you see Nintendo and Pokemon doing really well on this one, is like giving your brand extension in more places for people to engage with it, and ideally places where they can give more money is kind of the secret here. So Pokemon, in my piece I'm writing that'll be out tomorrow, I'm calling them the Tiamat of gaming and branding IP. So what's that? What's a Tiamat? Like it's a five-headed dragon from Dungeons and Dragons. It's a dragon god. It's got the dragon heads. It's oftentimes the end of campaign boss, yada yada, or like a more common villain, right? To kind of overarching campaigns team up, right? And to that end, it's like each dragon is powerful by themselves, but collectively they're just like a insurmountable super beast, right? And so Pokemon is insanely great at making console games. They're insanely good at mobile. They're insanely good at trading card games, so physical trading card games. They're insanely good at merchandising. Like, oh gosh, that's a whole other one. I'm looking at on that one. And then they're insanely good at transmedia. Like the Pokemon animated series is the top gaming IP on Netflix, and they just 30 years of animated show that does not go away. Ask Ketchum did not hang up his hat until like this decade. He is he was a Pokemon master chasing guy for like almost 30 years. Like that's crazy, right? And multiple generations look to Ash and go, "Oh, he was my guy," right? Like, and by proxy, Pikachu. So when you look at, like, I saw a graph out there. It's like the biggest brands of all time, and from a retail IP standpoint, and Pokemon's number one at over $100 billion in retail sales.
Mhm.
That is because they are this five-headed beast. Like that, and they surpass Mickey Mouse in terms of like the estimated like things per this chart. Like I'm like, if that's true, that's crazy. But I actually buy it because the Pokemon is everywhere, right? It's not just for money. It's like almost everywhere. Like in all continents around the world can look at Pikachu and just go Pikachu. I know exactly what that is, right? Um, so first I want your thoughts, and then I'm gonna ask you what your Pokemon is. Everyone has
I
a Pokemon.
Everyone has a Pokemon. From your point about the five-headed beast, right? Like, that's awesome, and I want to dive more into that. Not now, but like, yeah, like they're conquering everything. And I know, isn't there like a Pokemon theme park now somewhere in China as well, or Japan? Like they could be Disney, right? They got the characters, they got the revenue, they got the people, they got everything, right? Like if they build it out, like they could build. I don't know what percentage Nintendo owns of the Pokemon company. That's a real question. I'm like, I thought Nintendo does own Pokemon, but Pokemon Company can, like, I don't know how it works, right? But like, so my Pokemon is Poliwhirl or Poliwag, I think it is, whichever is the cuter. Because I was never a big Pokemon person. When I saw him with a little twirl on his stomach, I'm like, that's my guy. But now that my son is really big into Pokemon, I like the Gyarados of the world and the Charizards. He likes big guys, and he does all these puzzles with them. And it's just really fun to be able to watch.
Nice, nice. So my son is into Charizard, Charmeleon, and gosh, Charmander. So Charmander, the little one, right? And so that's his like evolutionary line of Pokemon. He has each one has a like little stuffy. My daughter is into Eevee. The fox that dances. Can't go wrong with that one. And then my Pokemon is Ghastly. So I am the ghost Pokemon. That's a floating orb with the smoke
Yeah.
behind it. Love Ghastly. Loved him from the animated show. Just a Ghastly guy. Hard one to find. And then everyone's favorite out of that line is Gengar. Gengar's fine, but Ghastly's more cool. So that's my Pokemon. Close second. It's just very specific to the original animated series. Squirtle with the sunglasses. Thumbs up. Squirtle introductory episode. Awesome. Squirtle is probably second, but like Ghastly is my Pokemon. Ghost
All right.
Pokemon all the way.
Let's wrap things up here because I think we lost our viewers that were viewing, but I was still recording for shorts. So why don't you let us know what you're up to, Colin, and where we can find you?
Yeah, Colin Neese, SVP of Gaming at Screen Engine ASI. Also, kind of mind game business development and mouthpiece lead. You can find me on LinkedIn, Colin Neese. Just hit me up, and or my newsletter I write every week, patch notes, and then my new Substack. Just go to PlayerDriven. You'll find my Substack there. So yeah, it's same content as LinkedIn. Just trying to amplify my reach by just placing on different platforms. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and looking forward to doing this next week, Greg.
We will not be here next week, Colin. I am
Oh,
sorry. I will be in London at Pocket Gamers. Maybe I'll still find a way to record
oh,
something, and it'll
no.
be interesting. Actually, I'll be flying home. I think technically I'm home this time next week, but I am not doing anything. But if you're at Pocket Gamers, hit me up. Let me know. I'd love to be able to meet, say hi, see what you're working on, see what you're
Oh,
building. I love that stuff. We're also going to be talking about Dice next time we talk. Who's going to Dice? What are you doing? Maybe we can meet you there. We can record some stuff. Check out PlayerDriven. We're rebuilding everything. We have Colin's stuff there. We have Lewis stuff there. We have my own stuff there. We have everything there. Check it out. Join the Discord. You can scan the little QR code at the top of our live stream now, which will bring you there. And we're building everything out. So let us know what you think. Have a good rest of your week and peace out.